Welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley, and it is a happy valley today as far as I'm concerned. The sun's out. I've just been out in my t-shirt.
Wow.
Turned over a few things in the garden over the last couple of days.
And you've been skipping, haven't you?
Not really.
Looking in the skips.
Yes, I...
The building work going on round and about.
Yes, collecting bits of wood because we've managed to... It's so lovely now. We've turned our heating off so we can heat up our sort of front room in the evenings with wood that's come out of the skips that was on people's roofs before the council sent people round to re-roof the social housing on our estate. Who are we going to be talking to today? It's
Guy Parry, who is a fellow presenter on Calder Valley Radio. He does a show on Sunday Spotlight, and one on Tuesday called, what's it called, Dave?
The magazine, Tuesday Magazine Show.
Tuesday Magazine Show.
It's like a magazine.
Yeah. And so if you want to listen to them, look, they're all on Listen Again.
And the Sunday Spotlight is musicals?
Yes, like Elaine Page does on Radio 2. I always like listening to that.
EP on 2.
Yes, that's the one.
GP on CVR.
Yeah, and he's an actor. He's done lots of things, so have a listen. You might hear a bit of background noise during the chat, and that's because it was in the radio studio and there's building work going on there, doing mysterious things. Not mysterious to me.
Yes, it would be. You don't really know about buildings. You don't like buildings, do you?
No, don't like bridges either.
No. Whenever there's a sort of quiz on the telly and they start talking about bridges, you just switch off.
I do, yeah. So they're doing mysterious buildy things in the studio, so you might hear the odd bit of drilling.
Let's just have a listen to Guy, shall we?
Yeah. Today we're sitting in a very crowded radio studio to talk to... It's crowded with things, not people. Just the three of us. To talk to Guy Parry, who works here and does lots of things in the valley. So welcome, Guy.
Thank you very much for inviting me on your show. It's a privilege.
Ooh.
Lovely. Now, before we get onto the radio, I only discovered recently that you are an actor.
I used to be an actor, yeah. I've been acting off and on since I was about 12, really. Right. Local youth theatre, then drama school down in London. I went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and it was quite a decent crop of people when I was there, because it's a 3-year course. And so I had... Ewan McGregor was 2 years above me. Dominic West was the year below me. Damien Lewis was the year above me. So it was quite a buzzy time to be at the college.
And an interesting bunch of actors as well.
Yeah.
Between them, they've been in quite interesting things.
Yeah, very diverse. And so I left there and got a job at Birmingham Rep. Then got a job in the West End and went to Australia.
What were you doing in the West End?
I did an Inspector Calls. I took over from Paul Bettany. He was playing the role of Eric Burling, and they were going to be closing it. It was at the Aldwych Theatre, and they were going to close it there, and then it was going to go to Australia for a British Council tour. And so they wanted a takeover for the West End for a relatively short length of time. But then we hot-footed it to Australia and did sort of 4 months going all across there. We did, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide. It was absolutely
all the main cities.
Yeah,
really,
and it was my second job, my second professional job. What's interesting about that is, of course, I thought I was the bee's knees.
Well, you would.
Absolutely.
You were.
I got back and didn't work for over 8 months because nobody had seen it because it was in Australia.
Right, okay.
The experience was good, though. Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine.
I mean, this is what we hear about actors. Anytime you spend more, and a lot of them who are well known, spend more time between jobs than actually in jobs.
Yeah, that's very, very true indeed. There's a lot of luck involved, and you've got to be in the right place at the right time, know the right people is one of the biggies, especially Well, it's changed. The climate has shifted a bit now. When I first came out of drama school back in 1994, there was still an element of the regional people weren't necessarily accepted as readily as the public school people. That's mostly, I'm talking about stage work now, not necessarily TV.
Yeah.
But that has definitely shifted now, because regional dialect and accents and things are all over the place.
We were watching a new drama, weren't we? This City Is Ours, and it's full of Scousers.
Yeah.
But Sean Bean is the sort of big daddy among them. And he says, I thought, God, he's not going to try and be a Scouser, is he? But he said right at the start, made of Sheffield steel.
Yeah.
So I thought...
So they wrote that in for him, probably.
I think so. I think they thought Sean Bean would be good for this, but, he's from Sheffield.
But he can't do accents.
But there were no RP accents at all in that, were there? No received pronunciation, old BBC type voices. It was all working class.
Yeah. I'll tell you an interesting thing about accents. I got a regular part in Brookside.
Oh, yeah.
I was in it for just under a year. And my agent said to me, when I went for the audition, she got me the audition, and she said, they want, it's Liverpool. So, no problem for me. My parents are born and bred Scousers. So, went in to the audition and didn't... I was speaking with a Liverpoolian dialect right from the get-go. So I didn't just turn it on when I had a script in front of me. I went in like that, got the part. Unfortunately, what that sort of meant was that I had to then continue with the accent for the entire job, whether I was on camera or not on camera.
Oh, because you can't. But I mean, you do have a Wirral accent.
Yes,
anyway,
I mean, it's a sort of general northwestern. I think people can tell where I'm from.
Yeah.
When I was just come out of drama school, it had changed. I was a bit more RP.
Well,
because
yeah,
that was after 3 years of training. But now that I haven't been doing, because I haven't been doing it now for probably about 15 or 16 years professionally.
Did you enjoy it on Brookside?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was a bit of it was just an odd one, because Phil Redmond is very canny, and he you had to. We all had to buy our own lunch in the canteen. The dressing rooms were porta cabins. Nobody had a star dressing room or anything like that. All the boys got changed in one room and all the girls got changed in another room. There was no airs and graces at all.
Yeah.
But for me, the joy of doing that, because it is to be able to see yourself on screen and learn from what you've done. Because if you go in and you're a guest artist and you've just in one episode of, say, Cold Feet or Casualty or one of those shows, you don't get the opportunity to learn from what you're doing, because you can't see yourself on the screen, because it's 6 weeks later that it turns up on telly, and by that time you've finished the job, you've done it. Whereas if you're in a long-running thing, you can watch something and think, okay, that worked, I'll do that again, or that didn't work, I won't do that again.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if you're just being parachuted in for one episode as a guest lead, they call them, or a day player. It takes more than a day, but that type of person, not a regular character.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying, and it's very, very helpful to be able to see yourself, to learn, because where I went to drama school, it was mostly the TV stuff and film stuff we did was minimal. It was all classical stage stuff, lots of Shakespeare, Chekhov, Ibsen, Brecht, all of those types of writers. So I was pretty green in front of a camera, but you learn quite quickly if you've got a few brain cells to rub together.
Yeah, it must be quite interesting. I mean, being on a soap as well, because that is, was it twice a week or something?
It was twice a week, and the great thing about Brookie was that you get paid, or I did anyway, per episode. And then on Sunday, there was the omnibus. so it was double bubble.
Yeah.
So it was actually worked out quite lucrative because of the omnibus, but they don't seem to do well. They don't need to now because streaming. You know, you can watch.
That's true.
You can watch whatever,
You can see it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Catch up whenever you like.
Yeah, I miss the kind of appointment TV. You know, where you hear the theme tune and you're all running.
Did you see Brookside last night? No, I missed it. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. It was just really nice to work at that speed as well, because there's zero rehearsal. The rehearsal time you get is just for the lighting guy and the cameraman and the sound person. It's not for the actors. If you do a take and there's no, especially outside, if it's on location, if there's no plane going ahead or no train going by, the sound's clear, the lighting's clear, the camera's clear. As an actor, if you say, can I just do that again because I didn't really feel quite right, no chance, absolutely no chance. They move forward because they've got a lot to do.
What's my motivation?
Your motivation is you get paid.
But you were on stage in Hebden Bridge recently.
Yeah, and that was this time last year, really. It's the first time I've stepped foot on stage for about 16 years.
Oh, right.
And this was with Hebden Bridge Little Theatre in an amateur production. And I was absolutely petrified because I just didn't know whether I could still do it. I'd been through the rehearsal process and thought, but actually putting a foot on stage in front of an audience is completely different to mucking around in a rehearsal room trying to figure out what's going on. But you know what? It was really, really a very odd experience. As soon as I got on there and said a few lines, I just felt this weird thing was happening, and memories, everything was, muscle memory was kicking in. And I thought, I know this feeling. I know what to do with this. I possibly wasn't particularly in the moment in character because all this stuff was going on. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I'm going to do more.
Great. So
Excellent.
what part did you play?
That was in Hay Fever, an old cow play. Well, the thing about that as well is my last professional job was in Private Lives by Noel Coward.
Yeah.
And when it came up at the Little Theatre, I thought, because I've been thinking about it for a while, about going back, and I looked into it at Hebden Bridge and just not done anything about it. And then when I saw that they were doing an old Coward play, I thought, oh, well, this would bookend everything. My last professional production was Private Lives, and this one is Hay Fever. So I just went and met them and got a part in it and got on with it, and it was brilliant.
Excellent, well done. And you, besides your acting, you are also the compere at such amazing things as the World Duck Pudding Championship.
Yeah, I've compared quite a few things. One of the interesting ones is doing duck races. They do a mare-making ceremony every year at Ludgerton in the village. And many a time I've been in the river in a pair of wellies with a microphone commentating on a plastic duck race. Now, there's only so many things you can talk about.
The yellow one's in the lead now.
Everybody is a yellow plastic duck.
Yes.
You're like, number one's coming around the chicane now, and it's followed closely by number 37. Have you got 37 down? We've got 37. It's just hysterical.
I'd take my hat off.
It's very, very funny. You just have to remember not to drop the microphone. So yeah, I've done bits of that, and like you're saying, the World Duck Pudding Championship. I've done that. This will be the 4th year that I'll be doing it this year, and that again is commentating on 3 people at a time cooking a duck pudding on stage. And again,
It's a shame to say I've never been through the whole thing, but you watch people cooking.
Yes, yeah.
And then they're judged.
The judges are in a separate room, so they don't watch, so they don't know. It's blind judging.
Wow, like the Great British Menu.
Yeah. So they and they're timed as well. so they've only got a certain length of time. They bring all their own ingredients. They have 3 little burners on the stage. They've got their own little stations, and it's like on your marks, get ready, cook, and they just start cooking. And again, there's only so many times you can say, "Oh, and they've just now put the duck leaves in," and "Oh, they're adding a knob of butter now." And Beryl from Clitheroe has just put in a teaspoon of cumin. You might want to remember that because it might work. Try it when you get home.
I have great admiration for it. I've done this thing at some music events and to festivals and what have you. But Viv's really into cooking on TV programs.
Yeah,
but I've never seen it as a spectator sport, so you have my admiration.
Yeah. It's
know.
always a laugh, though. It's good.
Yeah.
And like I said, they do take it, the contestants take it very, very seriously.
It's very competitive.
It is.
Don't find any dirty tricks there, do you?
No, I don't think there's any dirty tricks. There was one year, somebody had possibly a couple of pints beforehand, and they didn't win. Put it that way.
Have you ever had to go up making it yourself?
I haven't. I've tasted it, and it's really bizarre because it is made with stinging nettles, and when you taste it, it's lovely, a bit like spinach, I suppose, but you can feel a zing in your mouth, which must come from the nettles.
Right.
I thought it was made from dock leaves.
Well, I think
you use to get the sting out.
Yeah, well, I think some people use nettles instead. You can use it depends what time of year it is.
Right.
There's a big history to do with it that I don't know anything about. But it is called the World Dock Pudding Championships, held here at Mythenboyd Community and Leisure Centre once a year, because it's the only dock pudding championships.
I have heard that people come from Canada to join in.
Yeah,
so that's halfway.
It has a fan base. It has a fan base.
Absolutely fantastic. So on to the radio. How did you get into? Tell us how you got into radio and what you do now.
Well, I did a bit of radio when I was a professional actor, but plays. And what I do now is like both of you. It's completely different. You're a broadcaster, really, and working the desk yourself and all the rest of it, and presenting radio shows. And I heard about a different radio station before, Calder Valley Radio, and looked at it, and I was asked to do an interview about something completely different. And when I got there and saw the setup, I thought, they haven't got a show about musical theatre. A bit like, Elaine Page does. And I thought, I'd quite like to have a go at that. So I did. Yeah. I spoke to the organisers, the owners of the station, and said, I've got an idea. You haven't got one of these shows. What do you reckon? And so I started doing that once a week, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, ish. And then I've just continued ever since. And then when Calder Valley Radio started, I was one of the founder members of it. And I was doing the musical theatre show, and then I upped it, and I now do a Tuesday evening show, which is a bit like a magazine programme. Bit like either, I don't know what you call it, This Morning or The One Show, but on air. So I scout around, find a bit of news, whatever's going on, gossip about it really, and then play a track connected to it.
Sounds good.
That's good fun to do.
It's not unlike what we do when we find trivial bits of news.
Yeah.
A song that in some way obscurely relates to it.
Yeah, but I really do enjoy it, and it's a great. You meet some great people.
Yeah.
And the feeling of community that you get from a whole bunch of complete and utter weirdos, because everybody's from a different background, everyone's got different experience.
Yeah.
But we sort of make it work.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. And especially now, that because for a while that we couldn't broadcast from the studio because of various issues, and we were doing it from home. Yeah. And I did miss coming in, but we at least get together for meetings once a month.
Yeah. Well, I much prefer broadcasting from a studio, because if I attempt to do it from home, it takes me about 3 or 4 times longer. Because if I perceive that I've made a mistake, you've got the option, so I want to go back and redo it and iron out the mistake.
And
Whereas
if you haven't got the option,
it's gone. It's out there.
That option that they wouldn't allow you at Brookside.
Yeah, no, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm used to it. And if you make a mistake, it's just gone. It's into the ether, and you just move on to the next thing. And I like that because I think it sounds less contrived. Really.
Yeah, you can be more spontaneous, ironically, can't you?
Absolutely. I was just reading yesterday morning that they are no longer going to do Blue Peter live.
Right.
And when you think all the things
that
you remember, the elephant.
Yeah, the elephant.
They were all because it was live.
And the Christmas crown thing that set a fire.
And I'm sure Blue Peter will still be a marvellous programme, but it just won't have that edge to it.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, that live TV, I've never done live TV ever. That must be really by the seat of your pants, because there's so many different elements. At least on stage you've rehearsed them properly. But with live TV, especially if it's slotted into a long-running show, there's limited rehearsal time. You just got to sort of do it.
Yes, somebody's bringing a small elephant into the studio.
Who was it? Was it Janet Ellis or Leslie Judd, who was hanging off a rock trying to transfer something from a boat to a lighthouse, and she's swinging from it, and your heart's in your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, and you think, they wouldn't do it now for health and safety reasons.
No, there's a lot of things that
certainly
don't
wouldn't do it live.
It is a bit safer sitting in the studio in Mythenroyd.
Yes.
Introducing the next song or talking about a show.
There's only a limited amount of things that can go wrong.
What's your favourite musical?
Oh my lord! Now that's like asking anybody to choose a favourite child. Well, the one that I've seen the most has got to be Blood Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because when I was going down to London to audition for drama schools and do all of that, there was a big gaggle of us. I grew up just inside North Wales that was Clwyd. It's now Flintshire. And the Clwyd Youth Theatre was very, very successful at getting kids into big drama schools, Guildhall, RADA, Lambda, Central, the top drama schools. So we'd all trek down to London and go and audition for these big colleges. And we went to the half-price ticket booth in Leicester Square and one time got tickets to see Blood Brothers. And I went to see it. It was at the Albury Theatre, which is now renamed. It's the Noel Coward Theatre now. And Stephanie Lawrence was playing Mrs. Johnston. And she tore the roof off that place. And I was spellbound, absolutely spellbound. So every single time I went down to London, I went to see that. And since then, loads of people from Clwyd, from that youth theatre, have been in it. This guy called Andy Snowden, who played Mickey in the West End. This guy who's currently doing now, Sean Jones, who's playing it on the national tour. Danny Taylor played Sammy in it for years on tour. There's 3 or 4 others as well. So I don't know what it is, but I suppose North Wales, quite close to Liverpool.
Yeah,
so I think the mentality is there. And I must have seen that over 25 times.
Wow.
And I saw it very recently, actually, in New Brighton. Because my mum has got a friend who had never seen it.
Right.
And so I thought, right, I'll book tickets. And
did you enjoy it?
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it is a great
fantastic, isn't it?
show. Well, our grandson was in a school production of it about 2 years ago, wasn't he? And it was because of the nature of it being a school thing and getting everybody involved. Each of them played several characters.
Yeah.
So in one scene he was a doctor, wasn't he, which you knew because he had a white coat and a stethoscope. And in the next, I think he was a milkman. And he looked round at the audience and winked and got a laugh.
Brilliant.
And that just set him up, didn't he? He's
Yeah.
now in college doing drama. And
I was going to say, when the bug bites,
Yeah.
then you've had it, you're absolutely scuppered because it grabs hold of you. It really does.
And it was a deliberate laugh,
Yeah.
that he'd
He knew what he
created.
was doing.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that gave him the bug. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So he's at Media City now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we can wrap up there, unless there's anything else you want to say, Guy.
No, it's been an honour and a privilege to sit here chatting with you.
It's been lovely. I really enjoyed
and as ever,
hearing your
we talk to
background.
people. Mostly we know something now, and then learn more about them.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, Guy Parry.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Guy.
Yep.